Oh my gods, it's news hour number 35. Wow. How's that possible? Let's get this on. Cheers, everybody. Look at this new camera. All right. All right, folks. Let's do it. I gotta get rid of that damn CD. I like vinyl. What's up? It goes from a CD to vinyl. I have an old system here. Nice mat. Yes, Lou. I have a bunch of these here. You gave me a whole bunch of these here. I do like this mat. Wow, everybody, welcome. It's evening hour, number 35. Are you kidding me? I can't believe it. Let me know here if I'm sounding good and it's looking good, because I got all new gear because of all my donors. I'm not kidding. I mean, really, look at this. Now, I don't ask for donations. I ask for support in any way, shape, or form, and that means hitting that subscribe bar. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notify button, and hit the like button, because I'm trying to get to 1,000. But if you want to donate, it goes in the show. Thank you. Means a lot to me. Look, we got Lou, Mark, Amanda, William. Come on in, everybody. I got a great crew in here. I know you're going to have a lot to say tonight. The subject is a juicy one. Yeah. So before we get into the subject, tonight's episode is called Joseph Smith, Con Man or Carny. Okay. Yeah, look at this. I got, this mat was a gift from Lou Johnson, who's in here. Hi, Rick Sherman. You're going to love tonight, too. Right now, here, I'm going to blow on my crazy incense burner. Watch this smoke. Yes, I fixed the autofocus. I fixed all sorts of things. I figured out how to use the camera. I definitely needed my tech guru, Golf Wang, also known as Wolfgang, my son. He hooked it up, so thank you. And he just had his wisdom teeth pulled, so feel better, buddy. I don't know if you're watching. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do except start fast on this. I wanted to go over a couple things, but tonight's episode, I'm going to go into one part of Mormonism, one sequence about the Mormon Bible in detail, and I think you're going to like it, especially if you don't know anything about Mormonism. Now, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS Church. That's the abbreviation now. Most people only know it from South Park, which we'll get to in a second, but I got a lot of stuff to say. So, how's the lighting? How's the sound? Everybody says it's looking good, sounding good. How's the sound quality? Can you hear the background noise? Got a little Bach going on. Thank you, Amanda. I mean, really, I'm shocked. Watch this. Here, I'll show you some of the features of this camera that y'all bought for me. Thank you. Look at this. Boom. It'll take 1 second to focus, but look how clear that is. Look at that. This is what I'm drinking tonight. It's a non-alcoholic beer. It is outstanding. There's no booze in it, and it is dark as hell, and it tastes literally like chocolate. I can't rave enough about it. It's called Athletic Brewing Company, and the beer is called All Out. There's only one bad thing about this beer. It makes me yawn. So if you hear me yawning, it is because I will be, I'll click the camera off and yawn. Wow. All right. I want to start tonight. First, if you're new to here, please hit that subscribe button. God, it's so hard to get to 1,000. I'm also getting close to that 666 mark. When I hit 666, I will definitely do a contest with a killer prize. And I mean really cool prizes. And it's only going to be for the people in the live chat. When I hit 1,000, I'm going to do an even cooler prize. Probably something worth something really good. Just as a thank you and what the heck. Yeah. So, I want to say there's a little disclaimer before I start tonight for everybody watching. My disclaimer with any time I mention philosophy or religion is I treat them all the same. I treat it all the same, and I do believe in my heart religion is not only up for debate and criticism, you should be allowed to make fun of it too. I don't think people's religious beliefs are not off limits for dissecting and poking at, because you would do the same to a philosophy of sorts too. To me, it's like a model car, especially when you get down to a religious, when you get into a religion's actual value systems. I do believe we should be allowed to criticize value systems, and yeah, it's fine if somebody criticizes my values. It's fine. I always taught my kids the sticks and stones saying, and I take that very seriously. So yes, so if you're offended by religious chat or chitter chatter, get out. This is my channel, and you don't have to be here. Anywho, yeah, because tonight I'm going to be saying some things that if you are a Mormon and you're watching, you might not like this, or you should pay attention and go look up yourself. I also have some awesome links in the description bar. Don't watch them now. Don't click on them now. When we're done, click on them. There's one in particular that I discovered recently that blew my mind. Absolutely melted my mind. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and it's kind of interesting. It's a must-see. The other video I have, or it's a link to the direct LDS Church website on what they have to say about what I'm going to say tonight. I'm going to tell you multiple times what they have to say on what I'm going to say tonight. They don't hide it. Okay, let's begin. Does everybody have a drink? Grab a drink. If you have things to say them. This is a live show. Everybody in this chat here, the reason, if you're new to this channel, everybody that's in the chat, it's funny because I'm always pointing here because that's where my chat is. If you're new to this channel, this is very a participation channel. I take suggestions for episodes. I respond to anything. And if I am going in a wrong direction or I say some misinformation, please point it out. And please, I'll go look it up. If you have a somewhere else that has a different opinion on what I'm saying that you think I would benefit from, please show it to me. I will definitely look it up. This is what I like to do. And you know, you guys already do that. So, grazie. Let's see. Do we have anybody new in here? Yay, come on in. We got a good crowd tonight. Thank you, Talon. Yes, you can hear the record better. I'm playing it a little louder, but I'm now going to lower it a bit. Okay. I heard Richard Dawkins, and I'm not a major Richard Dawkins fan. I like him. I have some problems with some of his stuff. I'm more of a Hitchens guy myself, but Dawkins had some good things to say, and I think he's an important character in our modern story. And he said something that I always really hold dear, and I find it to be important. And I tell this to everybody with kids, and I tell it to my kids. He said, he wrote a letter to his daughter when she was little. I think he wrote it in case he died. And he was like, look, if you're going to take any advice from me, it's in this letter in case I croak. So it's simple. He's like, question these things. Authority, tradition, and revelation. And tonight we're going to be talking a lot about revelation. because to me, that's the big one. I'm quite shocked that people don't question that one as much as they should. The old saying is, extraordinary claims need extraordinary evidence. I don't know who came up with this analogy, but if I told you I had a helicopter, some of you might not believe me. But if I showed you a picture of me in a helicopter, oh, by the way, I do not own a helicopter. But if I showed you a picture of me taking lessons, helicopter lessons, you might go, okay, he gets a couple points there for owning a helicopter. And then if I show you my paperwork and you're like, all right, he owns but even just me in a photo, you might buy it. There's a lot of photos of me on my Facebook of me in choppers and stuff. You're like, all right, the guy probably owns a helicopter. If I told you I had an F-16 fighter jet, you're going to need a little more evidence for that one. You're going to need some paperwork, a license, my Army credentials, and if I own one, how the heck would I own one? It's going to need more evidence. But if I told you I had a UFO in my backyard, whole nother game. If I showed you a photograph, that's not going to be enough. If I showed you paperwork or anything, you see what I'm saying? So when I hear of revelation, my red flag goes bing, bing, bing. And when I mean revelation, I mean God speaking to humans. Okay? I am coming from an atheistic point of view, straight up. And when I say, hey, Voider Shark, good show tonight, Voider Shark. Excellent job. We'll chat later about that. Whenever I hear, I'm coming from an atheistic point of view. Atheism meaning I don't believe in God or a God of any type. And I mean a deity, like a guy in the sky or a being. Yeah, Sherman. You can. But I'm agnostic, meaning if you say, is there a God? My answer is, I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that. I mean, maybe. I don't know. So that's it. I'm an atheist agnostic. If you're a theistic agnostic, your answers are, is there a God? And you're like, I don't know. Do you believe in God? Yeah, kinda. That's an agnostic theist. So I'm coming from that point of view. Okay? Now, there's an old saying, the older the religion, the harder to find the smoking gun. Right? Judaism, Christianity, Islam. There's a few smoking guns, a little harder to find. When you are talking about modern religions that deal in revelation, I'm not talking about modern atheistic movements. I'm talking about people that talk and convene with beings from other realms. Modern religions, meaning Mormons, Church of Scientology, those smoking guns involved in those, oh boy, do we have them. Big ones, large ones, and in some cases, so many smoking guns that there's no way that there's not some sort of red flag that's going to go off, okay? Like, studying behaviors and body language, it's not one thing that will tell you what's going on. It's a sequence of things. And if you add them all up, it points to that. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be talking about the Mormons. And, most people only know about the Mormon thing in detail because of South Park or the Broadway show. And I've seen both. I've seen South Park and the Broadway show. And it's funny because the Broadway show, even though it's very critical of the faith part, it doesn't criticize the people that are the Mormons themselves. It actually makes them out to be awesome people, which I always thought was a really cool point to make, which a lot of people forget. Most people, when they think of Mormons, think of polite, peaceful, nice big white pearly teeth, or they think of Donnie and Marie. If you're my age. So that's what people think when they think of Mormonism. If you ask a Christian, they'll say they're kooks. They'll go, those Mormons are kooks. Or, oh boy, are they wrong with Scripture. And I always think it's funny when Christians make fun of that, or Scientologists make fun of it's just, to me, it's, when you're coming from my point of view, it's pretty humorous. It's funny to hear people debate things that you can't show. But honestly, they're known for being cool people. They have a lot of kids. They stick together. Oh, that's all right, Sean. We're just getting into this. So I'm just talking about Mormons and how most people think they're very cool people. Well, okay, we'll get to the polygamy thing. Now, when you say the Church of Latter-day Saints, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, blah, 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 polygamy's officially put the kibosh on. But there are, of course, little groups that still do that. And we'll talk about that tonight a little bit. But I don't want to focus on that. I'm going to focus on one part of this story because, my God, I could do a whole show on, multiple shows on this. All right, so Joseph Smith is the founder of the Mormon faith. And I'm going to do it in a nutshell, his history. I don't know where he's born. I think he's born in Vermont, but the religion was founded in upstate New York. And Joseph Smith, basically, in his early years, was a mystic of sorts. A folk magic mystic, and he had a seer stone, which is a magic rock that you use for treasure hunting. And he would knock on people's doors, and he would help them find treasures, right? And he would take a piece of the pie. I'm not going to get into the details of that just yet. Just let me get through a quick overview, right? So that guy eventually had a vision in, when did he have his first vision? When did he have his vision? 1820? 1820-ish, maybe? He had a vision from the gods, and he found these plates buried upstate New York. I think it was under a rock underground. Using his magic stone, he's able to find these gold plates with these metal bars. There's a couple drawings of it. And the plates had some language, and he, using the stone, translated those plates. And that became the Book of Mormon. Right? And we'll talk about how he translated them. We'll get to that. If you know the story, if you've seen the South Park, you know the story. If not, just hold on. So he translates these plates. He writes the Book of Mormon. He buys a scroll from an antiquity guy, which we're going to go way into detail. And he translates that, and that is the Book of Abraham, which is part of the Book of Mormon canon. And then he founded the church. It got bigger, and because of some things, people didn't like him. And they pushed him out, and he got moved from there. He went to, dude, the history is out crazy. He went from Ohio to Missouri to Illinois, where he founded Nauvoo. It's a town, Nauvoo. It was his home. It was basically a town he founded. You know, like he was like, he had a militia army and a town, and he had a huge following. And then he started doing the polygamy thing, and eventually his own people killed him. Okay, they don't like to say this. If you look up how he died, you're gonna be like, oh wow, this is literally nutso. Like, it's like a Wild West story where the newspaper gave him bad press, and he tried to, I think he tried to burn down the newspaper place, and then he got thrown in jail, and then a bunch of people showed up, and he shot 2 people, and then they killed him. They shot him. This is the Mormons. And then Brigham Young showed up. Sounds a little fishy. So, that's Joseph Smith's story. The Mormons moved on, and they kept going west, and some of them went to Utah, and blah, blah, blah. We have Mormons everywhere. It's a very famous, popular, modern religion. It's all over the world. If you've ever seen their temples, they are awe-inspiring, right? They're like, wow, massive buildings. They have some strange rituals that to a Christian would seem strange. To somebody who's not a Christian and studies the whole gambit, they're all strange. You know, they're all their own unique weirdness. But The rituals in the Mormon stuff are pretty interesting because most of them were just stolen, literally verbatim, most of them from Freemason stuff, which he was a member of. So, I mean, there it is. There's no hiding that. It's very clear. The fun part of this is what the Mormon Church has done as a response to the things I'm saying. And it's interesting. It's not what you think, maybe. So, I'm going to keep moving here. So he had the golden plates. He also had somebody else show him some plates that he translated. I'll get into that. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, the plates that he translated were taken by the angel. Nobody saw them really, quote. There are some people that claim to have seen these magical golden plates that are the Book of Mormon. Most people never saw them. And the people that did say that they saw them, I think there's some evidence to show that they were just saying it to support him. One of the things the Church of Mormon will say is the people that quit the church said that they also saw the plates and they never changed their story, which proves it's real. What if he did show them fake plates? I don't know. There's a million answers. I always thought it was funny where, I don't know if people know this, but Mark, the first gospel, Matthew's not the first gospel, Mark is the first gospel in the New Testament. It doesn't end with Jesus rising from the dead. It ends with the tomb is empty. Why doesn't the first gospel end that way? Anywho, I've seen people debate the tomb is empty. There's only one answer. He rose from the dead, folks. What about the body is stolen? Somebody moved it. They were in the wrong spot, or the story never happened. You know, there's a billion answers before you get to somebody rising from the dead, right? I mean, honestly, I just think it's funny how people just jump right away to the fantasy answer without going through a sequence of thousands of other possibilities. So, record flip. So let's jump to this Book of Abraham, which is what I'm going to be chatting about. The Book of Abraham is actually considered official religious canon of the Mormons. It's not like the Hadith is to the Quran. Is the Hadith considered holy text? I'm not sure. Sean says something funny. Supposing he did find the plates, I wonder if any Native American nations could lay claim to them. Yeah, that's great. I like that. Well, let's get into this Book of Abraham. So here's what the Book of Abraham basically was. I'm trying to figure out which way to approach this. Oh, yeah, Mark, I'm going to do a whole episode on the New Testament. There's so much evidence to show that the New Testament stuff isn't real. There's a lot that real historians kind of skate over. All right, here we go. The Book of Abraham. So it's a story that he found on an Egyptian scroll, and he said, this is before the Rosetta Stone. No one could read Egyptian. And he said, this is a lost book of the Bible, written in Egyptian, and it tells the story of Abraham. It's more info about the Abraham story. And Abraham gets caught and by these pagans, and they're going to sacrifice him, Egyptian-style sacrifice, which I'll talk about in a second. And not only does the scroll have this story, there are pictures. There are pictures. And I'm going to show you the picture that he put it in the Book of Mormon. It's part of it's plate number 1. There are 4 plates. Here it is. Bam. Everybody look at that drawing. You got the sacrificial table. You've got the evil priest getting ready, the pagan evil priest. And then there's the gods underneath, right? There's a little table on the right. I think that's for sacrificing things, maybe. And then there's this bird creature, right? There it is. That's part of the Book of Mormon. And that guy on the table is Abraham getting ready to get offed. Okay? So, in the book of Abraham, it actually has artwork that Joseph Smith himself penned. Okay. Now, I'm going to read to you. Well, I'll hold this. I have some official statements from the Church of Mormon, the Mormon Church. So, this is where it gets wacky. In 1871, in the Chicago fire, the scrolls were probably burned. They don't exist. They're gone. Meanwhile, we find the Rosetta Stone. Now we can really read Egyptian. Now, the Book of Mormon and the plates that Moroni, the angel, wrote, or Mormon wrote it, Moroni, the angel, gave it to him. That's what it is. I'm sorry. No one can go verify it. Why? Because the angel took them, conveniently. And now we can't find the scrolls because they conveniently were burned in 1871 Chicago. Okay. Guess what? Listen to this. Hold on here. What? My notes. You have no idea. I literally wrote 15 pages of notes for this. Oh, yeah. In 1966, not that long ago, at the Metropolitan Museum, right over there, New York City, I'm in Queens, it's right over here for me, they found some scrolls. Some peculiar scrolls. One of them actually had an affidavit letter written by Joseph Smith's wife. And they showed it to the Mormons, and they were like, that's real. That's it. We found it. We found it. We found it. We found the scroll. Oh, no, someone's going to translate it. Well, the Mormons had it translated. The scroll. Now we can really check. Not only did Joseph Smith write the book of Abraham from translating the scroll, he even wrote a little book explaining Egyptian language too, okay? Don't forget that, people. So they translate it, and now I'm going to read to you the official statement from the LDS Church. Mormon and non-Mormon Egyptologists agree that characters in the fragments do not match the translations. Though there is no I can't read my own handwriting. A, because I don't have my glasses, and B, I have horrible handwriting. The proper interpretation of the vignette. Okay, though there is not unanimity even among non-Mormon scholars about the proper interpretation of the vignettes on the fragments. Here it is. The truth about the book of Abraham is ultimately found through careful study of its teachings, since prayer and the confirmation of the sincere prayer and the confirmation of the Holy Spirit. I'll read that again. The truth about the book of Abraham is ultimately found through careful study of its teachings, sincere prayer, and the confirmation of the Holy Spirit. That's how they handled this. So let me explain this. Folks, this is a smoking gun like no other. And if I was a Mormon and I found this story, I definitely would be shocked. And I've seen many videos of Mormons like freaking out, like, oh my God, like this is nuts. Really? My response to that is, A, you didn't read the whole story of the history of the church. Because if you read everything but the book of Abraham, you're going to also see some smoking guns, especially Joseph Smith's behavior. Like, if you write down, okay, I always talk about my acting class experiences because I went to a snobby theater school that actually taught us some cool stuff. If you write down what character traits about a person, you can kind of guess who they are. And if there's somebody like Joseph Smith, well, we have mountains of evidence about his life because it's not that long ago. You can get a pretty good take on this guy. Now, here's the thing. He was alive not much, around the time of my great-grandma. And I used to hang out with my great-grandma. She was born in 1892. I got to know her in the 80s. I mean, since I was born, I knew her, but she died in 85, I think. And if my mom's watching, Mom, when did Grandma Teresa die? 84, 85? She was alive during the 1800s, and just a little bit before that, all of this was going on. It's not that long ago. This is a smoking gun, folks. There's some really crazy stuff here. Okay. I'm not even going to talk about the writing part. We're going to look at the drawing, and I'm going to show you something. Okay, here we go. This is the drawing that he had in the book. And when the Egyptologists saw that, they were like, well, folks, I don't know why the guy on the top, the sacrificial bad guy, why does he look like the guy in the table? Like, he literally looks like he traced over it and, like, duplicated it, whoever did that. Like, that's weird. What? The table's right, but that guy doesn't make sense. And the bird head's weird. And so Joseph Smith said that those jars were these things that no one ever heard of, especially Egyptologists. All right, you ready? The Egyptologists said, we know this drawing. That's a real thing. Look at that. That's Anubis. And that's Osiris risen from the dead. And notice Anubis, he doesn't have a knife. He's not sacrificing this dude. There's a bird. The bird represented your spirit moving around. The bird head's wrong on the bird on the right. Right? Now, why would that be? Why? Well, these weren't an enemy's organs. Oh, yeah. Well, no, he said they were just statues. Okay, so those jars at the bottom, underneath the table, Joseph Smith said they were statues. Now, look at this. You ready, folks? I'm going to show you the real fragment scroll. Now you know why he drew the head. It was missing. And now you know why he added the knife and the bird head. He filled in the gaps and made obvious. It's literally like a little kid would have done. Look at that. Would you look at that? Are you kidding me? I mean, it's mind-blowing. You're like, oh, now we know why he did that. He had no idea what he was doing, and clearly that's what you would do. That's what I would have done, maybe, without knowing. You draw a head on a guy. Now, let's look at this. So the bird, he said on the right was the angel from the Lord. He said Abraham's on the altar. Look, you can see all the different, everything that you're pointing out, you can see. He said one thing, and it's the other. Okay, Anubis, altar for sacrifice. It's actually a special lion couch. They knew what that was. It's an actual thing, What's the other one? The god. Oh, yeah. Anywho. Folks. I'm speechless. If I was a Mormon and I saw that, I'd be like, oh, wow. Ooh, boy. Ooh, boy. What are we going to do about this? Okay. So what do you do about that? What would you do? I don't know. Do we have any Mormons in the house? What do you have to say? I'm curious. I'm asking from my heart. Like, what do you think about that? That's shocking. If you go with just use your faith and stick to it. Okay, but the guy, he's considered to be a messenger from God, right? He's a prophet. He's not a regular guy, right? Why did this happen? Well, here we go. So let's get to the apologetics of this. I'm going to show you a video of someone explaining the actual, like a Mormon guy explaining it. But a lot of Mormons, there's a book on it too. Believe me, they do talk about this. Their way of dealing with it is to say it right away. They do. Anytime you look it up from their point of view, they take it head on. They do. They don't hide it. There's no hiding. They go, hey, here it is. Yes. No, they don't even pretend. No, they don't even say it's a test of faith. Theirs is like, here's what they have to say. They'll go, yes, this does not make sense. It's puzzling. But maybe we're missing something. Maybe the fragments that we found aren't the same ones he used. Well, that's easily debunked because the drawing. There it is. Clearly, it's the same one. Maybe he didn't translate it. Maybe the scroll inspired him and everything else came out as a vision. Maybe. Oh, wow. Where's the... Maybe, maybe... Oh, here. Here's a good one. They will go into detail. Okay, hold on. This is kind of a complex little apologetic. Well, first of all, the book of Abraham also introduces some major things into Mormonism. So if this was made up and he got... Okay, so the fragment, how he got this fragment, this Egyptian thing, is in the 1800s, going to Egypt and digging up mummies was kind of a thing. And it was popular. I think rich guys would sponsor people. Hey, what's up? We got some people. Come on in. Come on in. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. So these antiquity dealers, the guy, what was his name? I have his name here. He had a mummy. And he was in Ohio with the mummy and a bunch of other junk from Egypt. And Joseph Smith and his followers saw it. And they were like, hey, man, this is cool. Joseph was like, wow, this is great. I want this. And his followers bought him these fragments, supposedly for an obscene amount of money. Now, if Joseph Smith really is a con man or a Carny, because there's a fine line difference between the two, you can be both. He saw gold. He's like, okay, this is this mystical parchment. No one knows what it says. Yeah. Fallon brought up something funny. So, yay! Yeah, Peter's like, they all steal from the Egyptians. Yeah. So, he's like, here, no one knows what this says. This is perfect. This is a new plate. Except here it is, and I can get my followers to buy it, and I'm going to be able to do it. I can translate this. In the book of Abraham, it teaches about Kolob, the star, right near the planet where God lives. That's right, the God of our world lives on a planet. Interesting because it, to me, sounds a little bit like Gnostic Christianity. What I didn't know a lot about until like not that long ago. They believe that the God of Earth was kind of a jerk and that there was another being above that. These are Christians. And it explains why the Old Testament God is mean. It also, so it talks about Kolob. Look up Donnie and Marie Osmond. Their record label when they first started was called Kolob Records. And that's the star right near where God lives. That's in the book of Abraham. Also, no blacks allowed in the priesthood. That's in the book of Abraham too, I believe. Which, if you want to read something wild, I put a link to the Mormon website and their apologetic stuff in the description. Read up Mormons and their history on racism on their site. Read what they have to say. What else? The exaltation of man and the plurality of God. That's all in this book of Abraham. So it is very important to their philosophy story. Right? How did this happen? So he buys this thing, right? Now, this is where it gets wacky. I'm going to play you an apologetic right now. Hold on. Here it goes. I'm going to turn off the mic.
From current available evidence, none of Joseph Smith's explanations of the facsimiles in their entirety agree with how modern Egyptologists understand these images. However, in many instances, they do accurately reflect ancient Egyptian and Semitic concepts. So whichever way one approaches the facsimiles, a respectable case can be made that with a number of his explanations, Joseph Smith did indeed capture authentic ancient concepts.
Wow.
Importantly, some of his explanations are remarkably accurate and would have otherwise been beyond his natural ability to know. Any responsible approach to the facsimiles must take this into account. For this, from current available...
What? That was, hey, Rick, grazie. Thanks for the tip, brother. Dude, what was that apologetic there? My gosh, that was So what I noticed, anytime there's an apologetics for this subject, the Book of Abraham, being clearly something's wrong here, they immediately go, yes, there's a discrepancy. Yes, it doesn't make sense. And then they rattle off what that guy just said. He did get some things accurate, right? So here, I'm going to get into some of this now. Listen to this. So a little after, at some point, there's this thing called the Kinderhook plates. Somebody showed up with more plates. More metal discs with weird symbols. And Joseph Smith was, and he translated them and did this whole thing. And then they proved it was a fake. Like, literally fake. Like, the guy was trying to dupe him to make money. Like, okay? That happened too. So if you take that story and add it to the Book of Abraham story, and then you do the plates that are buried upstate story with the seer stone, and then you add underneath that the story of how he made money with a magic rock, and they never show you in those fancy, beautiful portraits of him with the rock and his face in a hat with it, because that's how he used it. He would treasure hunt for rich people. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the treasure hunting thing was an excellent scam for money laundering. Imagine you have $1,000 that you're not supposed to have, and it's unaccounted for. So you go bury it. And then this guy shows up, and you hire him to go find it. He might know about it. He might not know about it. If you add all of this up, folks, I feel bad for the people born into this stuff that are having to wrestle with this. It's kind of shocking. The smoking gun is a big one, and the smoke is pouring out of this one. It's a lot. They also claim that the lost tribe of Israel, which probably never existed, came to South America, and that's who populated the Americas. Well, we know that's not true. It's not a lost tribe of Israel. It's the lost tribe of Asia, maybe, but not that region. So we know that too. Even the notion. Okay, so the funniest thing too is when they get into the real apologetics of the Abraham story, because the Abraham story that he wrote is far-fetched. I mean, the Egyptians weren't known for sacrificing people the way he described it. There's a few instances where it might have happened, but basically what he's saying, that didn't happen. So the story's off. You know, okay, what did he get Egyptian? What detail did he guess? I don't know. You can make a bunch of guesses and get a few things right. It doesn't mean you're onto it, you know? And just because, okay, so he was, the other layered story is Joseph Smith was arrested for many times for many different things, for different fraudulent activities. One of them, which they don't like to bring up, is the bank fraud one. The other one was the seer stone one. And that one, say, whenever you bring up the magic rocks to the Mormons, their apologetic is this. And this is really interesting. They'll say, well, when he got in trouble for using the mystic rock to find treasure, the guy that he was looking for treasure for said he was the real deal, even after the fact. It's the guy's son that was stirring it up. Why? Because his dad was getting duped. Clearly, he's like, look, this guy's a con artist. So it's looking like he's more of a con artist than a carny. Because, listen, carnies do things to trick you into doing things. And to me, being a good carny might have some deception involved. But I like the P.T. Barnum model of P.T. Barnum didn't think there was a sucker born every minute. Okay? Most of you probably think he said that. He never said that. He loved his customers, P.T. Barnum. He loved the audience. And he knew that if he was mean to them, they wouldn't come back. So he's like, look, if you're going to dupe them with one of your sideshow stunts and your museums, you got to do it in a manner that they like. You got to dupe them in a manner that they go, I kind of dug that. And they bring their friend to get duped also. Okay? Carny wisdom and knowledge and what it means to know what's going on and use it to your advantage, to me, that's carnival wisdom. And yes, Joseph had a little bit of that, but it seems like his ego got in the way too. Kind of like lots of these guys. They start to believe their own stuff. When you have a bunch of people kissing your butt and you have a low IQ, it goes bad. Think about that. What is the old saying? The two most lied to people in the world are rich men and pretty women. And I would put in there religious kooks. The crazy religious guys that have massive people worshiping them, right? Ah, there's a good Barnum quote. There should be something for everyone. That man was a genius. Thanks for that, Sherman. Yeah, so this, the way he was doing his thing, a little too much. Now, if this scroll really was that important, well, it wasn't hidden. It wasn't like, I mean, there was an antiquities guy carting it around. Now, here's what the scroll is. I forgot to tell you this. They found out the scroll was nothing but a funerary scroll for a guy. The guy on the table's name's Hor, H-O-R, not Hor, W-H-O-R-E. And it was basically someone died, and it was a funerary text. That's all it is. It's nothing fancy, which is why there's probably a lot of them floating around. If it was an important thing about Abraham, how come no one noticed it? The Jewish scholars didn't notice it, who some of them could probably read Egyptian in the old days. You know, like somebody in that pantheon of history at some point would have been like, yo, this is something wacky. It's about this guy named Abraham. No one noticed it, which is weird. Here we go. Listen to this. Now, here's some apologetics for all sorts of things. Yeah, he said he could see underground with a rock 50 feet. He also said that men were on the moon at some point. Oh yeah, he established 2 different cities and then had to flee because he caused too many problems. His armies were disbanded. Yeah, he was like wanted for treason and arson and robbery in Missouri. Folks, if you're a Mormon and I'm saying all this and it's like, I've seen like videos with like, I'm upset. I'm like, I'm just stating fact. If you have a different fact, I want to see it. I went on the Mormon website and they like draw you to certain stories and don't draw you to other ones. Is what I've noticed. Wow, the folk magic scam. So, here we go. Oh yeah, Mark Hoffman. Who's Mark Hoffman? Oh yeah, the Kinderhook plates. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay. So on page 372 to 79, in the official church history book of the Church of Mormon, it talks about him translating the Kinderhook plates, which were proven as fake. Clearly, the guy, they caught the guy. He was a hoax guy. So just that alone is a red flag. A big one. And luckily that translations, they're not, I don't think, any religious canon. Yeah, he wasn't, I don't know, man. It's like bugging me out. Like when I start thinking about it, I'm like, oh my God, it's so much. It's like so many little things going on. Does anybody have anything to add to this? Because I'm just gracing a little bit of how deep this subject is. If you go to Wiki and you look up the Book of Abraham, it is a flood of stuff. And if you Google the words Book of Abraham, you're going to see a flood of a lot of stuff from the Mormons going through it. And watch it, because their apologetics are insane. Like, you saw this guy. They just quickly go over it and go to the faith card. Nobody's ever been able to explain to me why faith is a good virtue or a positive virtue. And when I mean faith, I don't mean statistics and probabilities that something's going to go in a certain direction. That's not what I mean. I mean believing in something in which there is no evidence for some reason. I can't figure out the reason why that's a good virtue. I've never been able to understand that. If someone can point me in a good essay on why, I'll go read it. You're wondering why I talk about this stuff. There's a video you're gonna look at after I'm done. It's a video of somebody in a Mormon temple on the pulpit. I don't know if they call it a pulpit. And while he's on the pulpit, he basically says he doesn't have faith anymore, and why. He was speaking from his heart, and as he's doing it, he's filming the audience. So you don't see him. You see the audience, and you can hear people. And you can hear the Mormon priest, the minister. I don't know what they're officially called. Mormon. I'm stalled. I usually know this. He comes up to him. He's like, all right, get out of here. You're done. And he's like, no, I'm almost done. And then they kick him off. And he goes and he sits down. And then you get to see, and this is why this is amazing. Please watch this. Please, it's important. You should show people this, especially like, so he sits in the pew in the temple. I'm using Catholic terms here. The pew, the pulpit. And he then leaves, and after a church service, everybody's talking, and hello. People are coming up to him and talking to him, and you gotta hear what people are saying to this guy. It's really weird. It's like, dude, you're letting how dare you do that? You're upsetting people, and he's just like, look, I'm speaking from my heart. Shouldn't I speak from my heart? And they're like, yeah, but not really. You gotta see it. It gave me goosebumps because it reminded me of how I felt when I was a little kid. It made me remember the feeling of everybody in on this thing. And I don't get it. Not only do I not get it, I'm made to feel like an outsider when I don't agree right away. It's like, this is our way. This is what we do. That's just it. And if you ask questions about that, you immediately get like the attack. And as a kid, my red flags went up. And I can't imagine how brave it is to say these things in front of a congregation of sorts, of your peers in that situation. I never had to do that. My family always knew that I leaned in a very different direction when it came to spirituality and values and philosophy. And I don't hold it against my mom's probably watching. She was pretty much a non-religious person. And if you're watching, Mom, and you will admit it, you are so indoctrinated with Catholicism that it's near impossible to get away from it. And you really don't see a need to, so why not, right? I mean, you would agree. It's just like, right? It's part of your DNA, right? You were raised Italian Catholic. Same with my father. He's an Italian Catholic, and my stepmom and everybody, they just go with the flow and it makes them feel good. And that's fine. But if you pull the camera back, and you pull it back, and you pull it back. To me, that feeling good is the same as that. The bad side effects might not be visible right away, or maybe not even in your own lifetime, but the way that it's presented in a package, you got to believe in this thing to get into this, and we do it together as a group and they don't, that whole thing, bad for business, causes too many problems. We can clearly see that. If you add tribalism in to that factor, you got a lot of problems. And we evolved to be tribal. And we evolved to believe in invisible things. It's tricky. It's a tricky subject. Now, the reason why I hold this dear to my heart, and I like to talk about Mormonism and Scientology and all of these religions, is I remember as a little kid getting criticized for asking questions about these things. And the only thing I want people to do, there's mama. Hi, mama. Right? I described you pretty close, right? And I don't hold it against you or anybody. Because I know they don't look at me. They don't look down on me in that way. Because they know I found my own way. Which proves their subconscious might know that what they're doing probably isn't real. Think about that. If people actually believed in the things they said they believed in, they'd behave in a very different manner. How come people that believe in the afterlife don't laugh when people die? If you believe in the afterlife and the Jesus story, when someone dies, you should be smiling and laughing, not crying. That freaked me out as a kid. I was like, why is everybody upset? If this guy's dead and in heaven, shouldn't we be happy and laughing and partying hard? No, we wouldn't be sad at all. Also, if you really did believe there was a God watching you, and if you screwed up, you were literally going to get roasted alive, people would behave very differently. People would behave very differently. It would literally be like living in North Korea. You'd be constantly like, what's going on here? Who's watching where? You know, and at any minute, bam, God's going to smash you, right? People, I think, would behave differently if they actually believed it. I think in their subconscious, they kind of know. And that is the red flag. That's why when the atheist guy goes, hey man, this ain't real, they freak out. It's like the sore spot in their brain. I like chatting about this. I think the more we talk about it, the healthier it is, even if it's offensive. If you're a religious person, if you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Jewish guy, whatever, a Buddhist, you should be game for criticism and chat. And as soon as you're offended by something, maybe you should re-examine why you're offended by it. Like when the Muslim guys literally go shoot up a cartoonist, maybe you should look at that. Why would that make somebody that angry? Why would somebody do, even if it's offensive to this God character, this prophet, why would you get that mad? Wouldn't you be like, what do I have to get mad for? God's going to punish them. Why? There's a reason. So that's why I'm fascinated by this subject. Always have been, always will. I like studying the story, the history, the apologetics of how they justify the problems. It's a little bit like a puzzle game. And I do believe there are a lot of people out there there's a lot of people out there where the apologetics is the hook that brings them in. And I'm going to use, for an example on this one, the flat earthers. When I saw the flat earth documentary, I swear most of those people really don't believe that the earth is flat. They don't. They do not. I think it's kind of a fake group. Like, of course there's a couple, but I think they get into the apologetics and justifying it. It's almost like a hobby because there's no end. You can justify anything. Same thing with, Peter. Good one. Honesty should never be offensive. Right. If someone really does believe in their heart something or has a value, expressing it shouldn't get that. Even if it's a weird thing they say or different or offensive, you should listen and go, okay, why would they do that? Why? Ask why. If someone likes something or has a value, why? They should be able to answer. I always hated it when I say to somebody, oh, what kind of music you like, or why do you like this? And they'll just go, I don't know, I just like it. You can't explain why you like it. There's got to be reasons. I'm the opposite. If someone asks me why I like something, I could talk about it for hours, as you all know if you watch this show. That's what this show is, right? I can just go on and on why I like something. Why I think about this stuff. And I know you guys do too. Let me look at some comments here. Let's wrap this up because I'm like, I've been talking. This is one of my favorite subjects, so I literally can go on and on about it. And I definitely missed so many details. When we're done, I'm going to go circle all the things I missed, and maybe we'll bring it up again on another show. Faith. Yeah, I don't get it, man. If somebody can give me, I've seen religious guys go, when you leave your house, you have faith that your wife will be there when you return. No. The guy that's married and leaves his house has faith that his wife's going to be home. Well, the word faith is used under a different definition there. He has faith. He doesn't need faith. He has statistics and probability. She's been home every day since they got married, or every time she comes home from work, it's pretty much at 6 p.m., so why would she not? She said she loved me. She comes home. Boom, boom, boom. If you add it up, she'll be home. That's not faith. Where's the faith there? Every time you walk outside, you could get killed. You have faith that you're not going to. What? Huh? I've heard that one. Bad analogies. Most religious people, when they're doing the analogy game, the analogies are wrong. I love that quote. Amanda says, it started to feel like people weren't teaching me to believe in things that they don't actually believe. That they were teaching you. Oh, I see. People were teaching you to believe in things that they didn't actually believe. Yeah, I've noticed that flat earthers, young earth creationists, some of them I really think they kind of know that it's bunk, but they get into the justification and the apologetics. And it becomes a hobby almost of really justifying everything. Kent Ham, the guy that does the Creation Museum, he's really thought about it. He has an answer for any Noah's Ark question. How did you feed that many animals? They were put in a hibernation. How did you fit 2 of every animal? It wasn't 2 of every animal. It was 2 of every kind of animal. Right? That word kind. It's fun. I always thought it was fun studying apologetics because it gives you a little inside scoop of where the guy's coming from. You can kind of tell his sincerity by his apologetics. You can tell what things people are boxing and ignoring pretty quick. And I love studying this. It's been my life's work. It helps me in my daily life with my own dealing with people. I don't hate people as much when I understand where they're coming from. I really don't. I mean, I hate certain things. Don't get me wrong. We all hate things. To me, the word hate means stuff you don't like. But now a lot of subjects that I normally might hate or, just genuinely dislike, if you know about it, you don't. You go, all right, I kind of get it. You almost feel bad for them and move on. I also use what I'm learning, my observation techniques in my work. My work as a performer is based on observing human behavior. I study human behavior. I study how my behavior makes their behavior change. This is what magicians do. This is what mentalists do. This is what mind readers do. I also study their behavior, and I can tell what they're going to do. I also rely on ancient shaman techniques that know how that guy, or when I say that guy, I mean random people, how they're going to react to certain things, right? So all of this adds up to me being a better person in my own life, which might translate, and hopefully does, to betterness around me and my friends, family, town and country, and planet Earth. So I think learning is the best thing. Any culture that doesn't like learning, or any culture that burns books, any culture that censors even the people they don't like or disagree with, even cultures that censor misinformation, which is what we're doing here now, I don't like any of that, right? I say my values are better. And I know they're better when you don't do those things, because look what the United States has done. Look what our free speech laws have done. We've done some great things because of our free speech laws. We've risen above in certain situations. And honestly, a lot of people will say that we have a lot of work to do here, which we always will, never ending. But I do think that the U.S. has the greatest speech laws in the world. And I think being offended is part of living here. So if you're offended, there's the door. That's what I have to say. No offense. When they did that, when they shot that cartoonist up, every newspaper should have printed that cartoon. But they didn't. Thoughts before I bounce out of here, folks? It's a Wednesday. Is it Wednesday? I got to start working on the Friday show. I don't have a Friday show yet. I'm getting busy personally with work, which is a good sign for anybody that's not working. Magicians, we're the first to go. When the economy's bad, hey, come on, we're not needed. But I'm starting to get a lot of work now. It's starting to creep in. I'm getting booked in the summer and in the fall. That's good. That's good. That's good news. The nightclub work ain't back yet. That might be a while, but there's work. So I'm going to leave now. I'm going to do some stuff. Anybody have anything to say? I mean, dude, we have a really good crowd in here tonight. I love my Wednesday show too. Thoughts? I really want everybody here to look up my links that are on the bio, or the, the description. One of the links is the Mormon website with their essays on their apologetics. Look up Abraham, but also look up their policy on black people. Because it wasn't until the late 70s they allowed black, the African-American crew to come on in and start participating as a minister. I mean, whoa. They were late to the game. Woo! Look up that essay. Also, look up the video link. It's a guy on. He's literally chatting about his personal experience with losing his faith. He's doing it in a Mormon temple too, which is mind blowing. Sherman, yes, boardgasm. I'm gonna do another board. I got some boardgasms I'm working on. I haven't done a boardgasm episode in a while. I've been playing a lot of games, and today I got a little chuckle. I got a package in the mail with, dude, Goodman Games, the people that do DCC. Look at this package. I got a letter in the mail, and it was a letter to the road crew. I'm one of the road crew, thanking us for being great during the pandemic. The road crew, we're all the guys that run Dungeon Crawl Classics role-playing game events for the public, and we post, and, we're like the liaisons of the game. And I think there's about, 500 of us, 400 of us. They made this really cool poster with all of our names here, and I was very happy to see it. And they sent me in the mail, and it's great because they used Kenner font. They sent us all a poster. Road crew. Oh, dude. Oh, hold on a second. I have colored lights here. Hold on. Let me turn off my colored lights. There we go. Goodman Games World Tour. Dungeon Crawl Classics is my favorite role-playing game in the world. Yeah. I'm going to do another boardgasm. I have a really good Behind the Devil's Curtain in the works. I also have magic methods I'm working on. I'm going to teach some cool magic tricks. Now look, I'm going to do a little, look at this camera. I can go all the way back here and it looks crystal clear. And I can come all the way up here now and it looks crystal clear. Thank you, everybody. You guys are the greatest crowd ever, and I'm not just saying that. I really mean it. I've got, look, people donate to the show. People pass the info on. Everybody, yes, El Guapo. People passing on my information, people sharing when I'm going to do a show. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you. All of it adds up to an awesome experience for me, and it goes back to you. So I'm going to bounce out. I'm going to take you with my outro, and I'm going to sit here and finish off. I only yawned, I think, once tonight. I'm going to finish off that lovely dark fake beer. Yes, it's El Guapo. This is one of my favorite movies, and I love this t-shirt. I don't even know where I got this. Amanda, Sean, Rick, Talon, Peter, Mama. Oh, Voider Shark in the house. Sean, who else? Sure, D. Baker, Rick, Talon, Lou, Eric. And anybody who's in here that's not a subscriber, please subscribe. It all helps. And sharing the page helps. Thank you. Party on, Wayne. I'll see you on Friday, 8 p.m. Thank you, everybody.